Hey, Eli.
Please help me, please. Because you know I don't vote first.
How are you? Do you all have a question or a place? Okay. Can you hear me now? Okay. I don't know what was going on with my microphone. Sorry. Okay. Okay, good. Hey, Reese. Hey, Grayson. Hey, Eli. I'll say good morning again. Hopefully, can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Five, 10, and light green for sure. Um, on the worksheet. So, but if there's others that you want me to do, I know I'm going to do those for sure.
Could you do like 9, yellow, purple, pink, and brown?
Yes. So why don't I start with 9, or I could start with 5, then go to 9 and 10. How's that? And that'll take care of that side unless somebody else has another question. And then I'll go to the color side. Is that okay with you guys?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So number 5, you want to distribute everything with regard to this exponent right here. You want to distribute it to everything inside the parentheses. So that would be -5 squared. And then when you distribute that to the 6 exponent on the x, you multiply because that's a power to a power rule. So that's going to be x to the 12th. And then 2 times 2 is 4. So now I've got everything there distributed. And then remember, I told you guys in class yesterday, this is something we're going to be working more on when we get back after winter break. But basically, for this part, since it's a subtraction in the middle, you just go ahead and bring that down. So then now -5 squared is 25x to the 12th y to the 4th minus 12x to the 12th y to the 4th. And what I was explaining in class yesterday is this actually is one term. See how it's x to the 12th, y to the 4th. So that's like a thing. That's like something like I could actually remove that and just say, okay, you have 25 oranges and you're going to take 12 oranges out of the bunch of them. That's going to leave you 13 x to the 12th y to the 4th. So that's your final answer for number 5. And now I'm going to move on down to number 9. And what you'll do on number 9 is you want to work on the distribution of that 2 first in the numerator. You've got -2xy raised to the second power. So you want to handle those exponents first. So I'm going to distribute that. That's going to be 2 squared. And then I'm going to distribute the 2 to the x and the y. And there's an understood 1 exponent on the x and an understood 1 on the y. So that would be x squared, y squared times 10x cubed y to the 11th all over 8x to the 10th y to the 4th. So now negative 2 squared is 4. So I'm going to move over here and kind of write over some of this. Sorry about not having a lot of room. So this is negative 2. That's going to be, oops. That's going to be 4. Negative 2 squared is 4. X squared, y squared times 10, x to the 3rd, y to the 11th, all over 8, x to the 10th, y to the 4th. Now I'm going to multiply that 4 and the 10. That's going to give me 40. And then x squared and x cubed, when it's the same base and they're being multiplied, that's going to give me x to the 5th. And then y squared and y to the 11th is going to be y to the 13th, all over 8x to the 10th, y to the 4th. Okay?
Miss Sparks, did you mess up where the negative 2 is at the very top to get positive 4?
Well, negative 2 squared is 4. Because negative 2 times negative 2 is 4, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So that's if it were an odd exponent, it would turn out to be negative. But since the exponent is even, the answer is positive.
Where did you get 40 from?
I'm sorry?
Where'd you get 40 from?
See, there's a 10 right here, right?
Oh, so you just did 4 times 10?
Yes.
Oh.
Because you still handle your integers the same exact way. Nothing changes about how you multiply integers. It's just the exponents on the variables have different rules. Integers still get handled the same exact way that they have been since you learned your multiplication facts. So nothing about that has really changed. It's just now what you're adding to it is when you're multiplying variables that contain exponents, there's special ways to handle them. Okay? So that's going to be, so 4 times 10 is 40. But now we have variables that have, like variables. So there's an x. So the exponent rules for those is that you add the exponents. Okay? So then I added the 2 and the 3 on the x, so that's x to the 5th. And then y squared and y to the 11th, so that's going to be 2 plus 11 is 13. And now that's all over 8, x to the 10th, y to the 4th. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, 40 divided by 8 is 5. 5 minus 10 is negative 5. So if the end result is negative, it stays in the denominator. When you combine something from the numerator and the denominator and the end result is negative, it stays in the denominator. On this y, it's 13 minus 4, so that's a positive. So 13 minus 4 is 9. So I'm going to have y to the 9th. The end result is positive, so it goes in the numerator. So my answer for number 9 is 5y to the 9th over x to the 5th. And I'm waiting for you all to catch up, and then I'm going to erase everything and put that answer in the answer spot. I'm assuming y'all got the first step written down, so I'm going to erase that step. Did everybody understand how I did everything? Was it super confusing that I wrote it over the other problems, or is that okay with you guys? Do y'all want me to cut and paste this to
No, I think it was good.
Okay. If you need me to cut and paste it to a different, place, I can. Everybody okay with how I did it? If I write over another problem? Reese, did that make it confusing for you, honey, or are you okay?
I got it.
Okay, cool. Okay, and did everybody get it written down? Any questions? Thanks for asking me questions along the way. Okay, so and stop me because I can slip up too. And especially when I'm writing over stuff, sometimes it gets confusing for me. So all right, so on number 10, once again, we've got an 8 and a 12 being multiplied. So we're just going to handle that like we would any other integer. And 8 times 12 is 96. And now we've got an x cubed being multiplied by an x with an understood exponent of 1. So we're going to add the exponents. So 3 plus 1 is 4. And then we've got a y to the 7th. And all of that is over 3x squared y to the 4th. And then we're going to deal with this at the very end because that's a minus 15x squared y cubed. So we're just going to go ahead and just carry it down because it's being subtracted, not multiplied or divided. So it gets handled a completely different way. Okay, so now I have 96 divided by 3. 3 goes into 96 32 times. Why won't it write? Huh. I don't know why it won't write on this. Oh, well, it's not going to write. That's a kind of a bummer. $32 times, okay, x, so we've got 4 minus 2. So that is a positive 2. So the x goes on the top. 7 minus 4. So that's y cubed. Minus 15 x squared, because I'm just rewriting this, y to the 3rd. My variables match exactly, and as do the exponents. So I can actually subtract them. This would be like having 32 oranges, because this is all one big thing, and subtracting 15 from them. So that's going to be 17x squared y cubed. Did everybody get that written down?
Yes, ma'am.
Any questions? Okay, let's see. What was the first color somebody mentioned? I think it was yellow. Is that right, Grayson? Was that the first color on the right side on column 2?
He's not here.
Oh, he's not?
No, ma'am.
Oh, okay. Well, he had a question about yellow. Did anybody have a question before yellow on red or orange?
I have a question on red.
Okay. You want me to work it out, baby?
Yes, please.
Okay, so everything is being multiplied. Okay, so we're going to combine exponents first. We've got an x to the 4th and an x to the negative 9th, right? And then really, there's an understood 1 out here that we only have one integer, and that's 5, right? There's only a 5. So it's just going to be multiplied by 1. But then we've got an x to the 4th and an x to the negative 9. So if I add those two, 4 plus a negative 9, that gives me a negative 5. And I know that negatives go in the denominator, right? And then 8 plus 1 is 9. So I have 5y to the 9th over x to the 5th. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. All right, then I'm going to go on to yellow. You're going to distribute that 3 to everything inside the parentheses. So that's going to give me 3 to the 3rd. And then negative 3 times 3 is negative 9. And then y to the 3rd, because there's an understood 1 on that y, times 2x y to the negative 4th. So 3 to the 3rd is 27. X to the 9th. Y, that's going to be ugly, Miss Sparks. Written there. Okay, so hopefully y'all can follow along. 27 times 2 is 54. And then that's x to the negative 9 plus 1. So that's a negative 8. Let me erase this right here. I'm going to do this and write it a little higher. Because if I have a negative 9 and add a 1 to it, that's going to give me a negative 8. But my end result is negative. So it goes in the denominator, right? And then I have y to the 3rd and a y to the negative 4. So 3 plus a negative 4 is a negative 1. So that's
What-
y.
What does it say where it has the 27 at? I can't
Where,
read it.
baby?
I can't read it.
I'm so sorry, love. That says, let me rewrite it over here, okay, Angel? That says 27 x to the negative 9th, y to the 3rd. Does that help?
Very much. Thank you.
Basically,
Thank you.
all I really did was rewrite this part. I
Is that
solved
x
this.
to the 8th?
Where, baby? Oh, on the
54.
answer?
Yeah.
Yeah, let me write it better over there too, okay, Grayson? I'm glad you came back. I was talking to you and you weren't there. My 8 still isn't very good. Apparently, I can't do it with the stylus. Woo! There I go. So that's the final answer for yellow. Okay, light green. All right, that 3 is going to get distributed to everything inside the parentheses. So now I'm going to write it over here, guys. Light green is going to be over here. I'm going to put LG. So that 3 is going to be 3 to the 3rd. And then 3 times 5 is 15 because I'm distributing that 3. 3 times 5 again is 15. All over 3 x to the 3rd, y to the 11th. And then we're just adding. So you really can't do anything with this yet. X to the 12th, y to the 4th. Okay, so there's a couple ways that you could do the integer part on this. This is the integer part. There's a couple ways you could do. You could go ahead and do 3 to the 3rd, which is 27 over 3, and that reduces to 9. Or you know there's a 3 here and a 1 here. So 3 minus 1 is 2, and 3 squared is 9. Either way you do it, you're going to end up with 9. Okay? Does everybody understand how I got that? So I'm going to write my 9. And then 15 minus 3 is 12. And 15 minus 11 is 4. Plus 4x to the 12th, y to the 4th. So once again, this is like having one thing because it actually matches. The variables match and the exponents match. So you're going to add the 9. I've got 9 pieces of candy. I'm adding 4 to it. So 13 x to the 12th, y to the 4th. Okay, what was the next color that you all asked me to do?
Purple.
Purple? Okay.
After purple, can you do orange?
Yes. Okay, so purple. You're going to distribute everything, that 4 right here, to everything inside the parentheses. So that's going to be 2 to the 4th. And then negative 2 times 4 is negative 8. And 3 times 4 is 12 because this is a power to a power. So you multiply. Okay, so 2 to the 4th is what? Anybody know?
$16.
Good job. It is 16. So if this is 16 times 2, that's going to be 32, right? And then negative 8 combined with a 19 is what?
11.
11. Good job. And then y to the 12th combined with a negative 6 is y what?
Can you say that again?
12 and negative 6. 12 plus a negative 6. 6. Good job. So your final answer is 32 x to the 11th, y to the 6th. orange. I'm going to distribute this 2 to everything inside the parentheses. So that's going to be 6 squared. And then 2 times 2 is 4. And 3 times 2 is 6 because that's a power to a power. So you multiply. So 6 squared is 36. "36 divided by 4 is 9. 4 minus 2 is 2. And 6 minus 5 is 1. So y to the first. So 9x squared y is my final answer.
Can you do dark green, please?
Yes. Okay, 34 divided by 2 is 17. 10 minus 8 is 2. 9 minus 6 is 3. Does that make sense? So basically, this is a quotient property where you divide your integers, that's the 34 and the 2, and then you actually subtract your exponents, 10 minus 8 and 9 minus 6. Okay, I think the next one was pink. With pink, you're going to distribute everything, that 2 right here, to everything inside the parentheses. So that would give me negative 8 squared. And then 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 2 is 4. All right, instead of trying to rewrite it again and messing everybody up, negative 8 squared is what? What's negative 8 times negative 8?
64.
64. So that's going to be a positive. So 64. Okay, then what we want to do is add this exponent here. We've got an x to the 6th. Actually, we want to multiply the 64 and the 2. So let me do that first. So that's going to be 128. And then we've got x to the 6th and x squared. So we add the exponents. Like bases being multiplied, you add the exponents. That's the product property. So 6 plus 2 is 8. And now we have the same bases, y to the 4th, y to the 6th, and they're being added. So 4 plus 6 is 10. I mean, the bases are being multiplied, so you add the exponents. And that's all over 32, x to the 8th, y to the 3rd. 32 goes into 128 4 times, or you could even look at it as 32 goes into 64 2 times, and 2 times 2 is 4 from back here if you wanted to do that. But anyway, your end result is 4 if you take 128, divide it by 32. And then 8 minus 8, that gives me x to the 0, which is always what? Anything to the 0 power is always what?
1.
1. So you don't have to write anything there because 4 times 1 is what?
4.
Good job. So it's 4. So you really don't need to write anything. These cancel out to equal 1. So you don't have to write anything. But what's 10 minus 3 is what?
7.
7.
7. Good job. So my final answer is 4y to the 7th. When you're subtracting or combining things from the top and the bottom, if the end result is positive, it goes on the top. If the end result is negative, it goes on the bottom. Is this getting better for you guys?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Are there any other questions?
I have a question on brown.
Same.
Brown. Okay. Okay. What am I going to do first? You gotta get the numerator so that it's one thing, right? That's what you're going to do first. And then you've got to distribute that 2 in the denominator to everything inside the parentheses. So my numerator is going to look like what? I multiply the integers. What are the 2 integers? In the numerator. What are the 2 integers in the numerator? The numbers. I'm sorry?
3 and 6.
3 and 6. Good job. So that's 18, right? 3 times 6 is 18. So now what am I going to do? I have 2 x's in the numerator being multiplied by each other. So what do I do with their exponents?
Add.
Okay, so what would that be?
4.
Good job. Okay, and then y, I have 2 y's being multiplied to each other. What do I do with the exponents?
Add.
Yes, but so 4 plus a -5 is what?
-1.
Yeah, I'm going to leave it there for now until I get this 2 distributed to everything inside the parentheses. So I have 3 squared, which is what?
9.
Good job. And then I'll have x squared, y squared, right? So now I have 18 divided by 9. What's that?
2.
Right. And then 4 minus 2 is
2.
so it's positive, so it goes in the numerator, right? And then I have a y to the -1 and y squared in the bottom. So -1 minus 2 gives me what?
-3.
-3. So and when you combine the top and the bottom and the end result is negative, you put it in the denominator and leave off the negative. So my final answer is 2x squared over y cubed. Any other questions?
Maybe. Hold on a minute.
Okay.
Could you do light blue?
Can you scroll
Yes.
down right quick, Miss Sparks?
This way, honey?
Yes,
Or the
ma'am.
other way?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, I can do light blue, Mary Faith. Can you see what you need to see, Eli?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. Okay, so Mary Faith, on the light blue, what's 42 divided by 7?
6.
Okay, good job. 6. Okay, so I have the like bases, and that's in a quotient, and the quotient property tells us we do what with the exponents?
Add.
No. Not with the quotient property. When one is on the top and I'm sorry?
Subtract.
Yes, ma'am. Good job. So 9 minus 2 is what?
7.
And the end result is positive, so it stays in the numerator. And then 5 minus 3 is
2.
and it's positive, so it stays in the numerator. So there's no longer a denominator in this problem. So it's just 6x to the 7th y squared. Any other questions?
On dark blue, would you multiply or add the 8 and the 3?
Multiply. With integers, remember, you're going to handle integers just like you've always handled them with regard to the multiplication and the division. The only thing that changes on this is the exponents. You have new rules about exponents, but everything about the integer itself stays exactly the same. So when you see that, you can barely see it, it's very small, at least it is on this worksheet, but that's a 3 times an 8. So it's just handled just like it has always been. Nothing about the multiplication of the integers has really changed. You're just dealing with exponent rules of the variables. And the integers themselves. Obviously, there's an exponent rule about the integers too. If one of the integers has an exponent, like if it's raised, if it's squared or cubed or whatever, you're using your exponent rules on the integers. But other than that, if it's just straight up multiplication or division, it's handled the same exact way. That doesn't change. It's just that you're using your exponent rules to deal with the variables and integers that contain exponents. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, good.
So, for example, number 7
Yes, ma'am.
is the same thing.
I'm sorry, love. Say that again.
Number 7 is the same thing as dark blue.
Yes,
So-
ma'am. So you would just Go
So in the
ahead,
picture,
baby.
you would color the number 7 dark blue.
Oh, I don't know about the answer. Let me see. Yeah, actually they are. They're right across from each other and they're the same exact answer. You're going to multiply the 6 and the 4, and you multiply 3 and 8. You both get 24. And then when you do all the exponent stuff, you get 24. And then -1 and -4 added together is a -5. So that goes in the denominator, and the negative from the exponent is removed. And then you've got 5 plus a -2. So that's a +3. The end result is positive, so it goes in the numerator.
So does that
When you
mean
combine,
that you would color number 7 dark blue?
yes, ma'am, that's exactly what that means.
How come number 7 is 11x to the -5 y to the third? Because 6 plus 4 is 10. How'd you get 11?
It's 6 times 4. You only add exponents. You're still multiplying integers. See, that's 6 times 4.
Wouldn't that be 24?
Yes,
So with the
I
11
have 24 written there. Where I don't know where there's an 11. I have 24 written there.
Okay, so I did. Okay, I figured out where I did wrong.
Maybe did you get it? Did you write down something I had when I was working out one of the other problems? Maybe.
No, I did the problem dark blue wrong.
Oh, you added over there too. No, integers are handled the exact same way that they always have been. It's just the exponents that are handled differently. It's the exponents that are added. And remember, in some of you got the blessing of having Super Bass played for you yesterday. I missed one class. But remember when they actually wrote it out, if you were to write out 9y's, you can't really write out -6y's. I don't know how that would actually work. But if I were to write out x to the third and x squared, that's really x times x times x. That's x cubed times x times x, and that's x squared. How many x's do I have? There. How many x's is this?
5.
It's 5. So thank you. So this is just a shortcut. You can add the exponents instead of trying to write it all out. It's just a shortcut, but it works. Actually, I do know how you would write it with the negative, but because it would go in the denominator, and so you just cancel them out. But
Miss Sparks, Annie asked if you can
so all the
scroll up.
7. I'm sorry?
Annie asked if you
Scroll
could
up
scroll up.
this way? This way or the other way?
I think the other way.
Okay. Thank you. Is that good or too far?
I think that's fine.
Okay. Is this clarifying some stuff for you guys?
We'll find out on the quiz.
You cut out, Mary Faith. What'd you say, honey?
I think it is helping.
Okay. So the basic thing is that the integers, which are your numbers, they're going to be handled the same exact way. If they're being multiplied, you multiply them. If they're being divided, you divide them. When it is a power to a power, like x squared raised to 3, the power of 3, then you multiply the exponents. And if it's, let me write some of these down. So a power to a power, you multiply the exponents. So that's going to be 2 times 3 equals x to the 6th. If it's the same base and they're being multiplied, you add them. If it's being divided, you subtract them. If the result is positive, then it stays on top. It's a numerator. If the result is negative, it goes to the bottom. Maybe I'll make these higher. Does that help? And then you just have to remember you're doing the last one I did. Okay. Thank you for stopping me. I'm sure you're not alone. What is 3 minus 5?
-2.
So it goes to the bottom, and since there was nothing left on the top, I have to show that it goes to the denominator. So you add that one. That one goes there, because isn't there a 1 here?
Yeah.
Okay. So when the x goes away, you have to leave the 1. Does that help?
I think so.
Remember when we did like 6 to the -2? That equals 1 over 36. Same principle. Any questions?
I'm not sure. I'll tell you if I do in a minute. I'm trying to work on the coloring part, and I think I got some numbers mixed up or something.
Okay.
Can you scroll
Anybody
down
else
right
have
quick?
any questions? Of this?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Is that far enough?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Could you work on number 8?
Uh-huh. Okay, so what am I going to do with that 3?
You'd put it out to
The
everything.
exponent. Very good. So that's going to give me 3 cubed, right? And then what do I do with the 3 and the x to the -6?
Multiply?
Multiply. It's a power to a power. So that's going to be -18. And now what do I do with the y?
Y to the 6?
Yes. So negative. Okay, what's 3 cubed? 3 times 3 is what?
9.
Okay, all right, good job. 27.
Oh,
Okay,
wait.
so 27 times 2 is what?
54.
Right. Now, what do I do with the x to the 18th and the x to the 10th? They're being multiplied. So, what do I do with the exponents? When you have
Add.
matching bases, yes. So, what's negative 18 and combined with a positive 10?
-8.
Okay. So, if the end result when I combine them is negative, does it go in the numerator or the denominator?
The bottom.
Okay. So, I'm going to have x to the 8th, but I'm not going to add the positive because once I've dealt with where it goes, I take that negative off, right? May not have said that right. If the end result is negative, you put it in the denominator and you don't put the negative back on the exponent. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah,
Okay.
I got it.
All right. Now, and then 6 plus a negative 7.
Oh, that's just 1.
Okay. And so it's a negative 1, right? So is it going to go in the numerator or the denominator?
The bottom.
Right.
Okay, what's funny is, so I got that exact same answer the first time I did it myself. So I didn't see a matching on column 2, but now after I redid the problem, I see the matching.
Oh, okay. Good.
So I uselessly
Good
did it
job.
twice.
Oh, bless your heart. That sounds like something that would happen to me, Grayson. All right. Any other questions?
I don't know, maybe.
Are you finding matches for everything?
Nope.
You're not? Well, I think I have almost everything on the right done. All the colors are filled in, right? Yeah. And there's only 5 left on the other side. So,
Yeah, I'm gonna check my answers on the right side. So can you like scroll up?
yeah.
Thank you, Miss Barks.
You're welcome. Have a great day, Mary Faith.
You too.
Bye bye.
Do you mind scrolling back up, please?
To where?
The top.
All the way?
Oh, that's good.
Any more questions?
I'm still trying to figure it out because I don't have. Well, I think I did. I don't have 8.
There's 8. We did that one together.
Yeah, I have that right answer. But okay, I see it. Never mind. I just couldn't see the matching pair, but it's YOLO.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I got it all.
Okay. Any more questions with anybody else?
No, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome. Y'all have a blessed day.
Okay.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.